Hello and welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I'm your host, Jim Wiggin, and so glad to have you on board. Now, if you're on board the live stream, thank you for joining us. We'll do some shout outs here in a second. If you're catching us on our YouTube channel later after the live, thanks for checking us out. And if you like the content that you see, please do us a favor and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you are notified every time a new video drops in, which in this case is weekly. Every week we've got something new coming on. Let's see who we've got joining us during the live stream. I see Anthony, DG Model Works is in the house. Late Night Model Railroad, Brody, Charles, George, Elko Steam, Ian, Anthony, Jason, Abel, Glenn, Power Williams, Ramsey, and Jackie, just to name a few. We've got about 76 on board right now. We're going to be talking about Athearn Genesis Pullman Standard 77-foot Southern Pacific chair cars. And then we're also going to be talking about some 50-foot FMCs that will be perfect for you guys that are modeling an HO scale in the 1970s into the mid-1980s. So let's do another round of shout outs and let's get started with another bunch of model train goodness. I see Apache 2018, Derek, Michael, Relatable 100, Bradley, UP 8518 production in March. Mr. Sid is here, Alexander, BN Green 1970, and many, many more. So thank you for joining us on the live, and thank you for watching us out there on YouTube. You know, we're getting close to 9,000 subscribers, and we appreciate all of the new subscribers that have joined us. Really want to see us get up to 9,000. Maybe we're going to have to do a little enticement there. So we'll have to talk about that maybe a little bit later. But for now, let's talk a little bit about some Southern Pacific equipment. Now, the Southern Pacific chair car classes, and they were 77-C1-1 as well as the 77-C-3. They were constructed in 1937 by Pullman Standard. The cars were originally painted in the red, orange, and black, as you see on your screen here, and assigned to the Coast Daylight. Later, the cars were repainted and used in different trains, such as the Lark, the Golden State, and some cars received Southern Pacific's General Service Scheme of silver with a red band. Now, these cars could be found in general passenger service until the advent of Amtrak. Now, what you see on your screen is from a previous release. This is a Southern Pacific Daylight number 2400, and it is ATHG 97107. Now, these came out quite a few years ago, about 2020, late 2020, and they did sell out quite quickly. Now, you may be lucky if you're looking for this particular paint scheme. You may be lucky and still find one of these at one of the many online retailers or hobby shop, but they may be a little scarce. Just in case, once again, that item number is ATHG 97107. Now, let's talk about some of the paint schemes that we're going to offer for this run. Again, you have till Friday, March 29th to place your pre-orders. We're going to start with this attractive paint scheme. Now, this is called the Challenger paint scheme. Southern Pacific used this from 1937 until 1942. We're offering this in two different road numbers, 2426 at the top of your screen, as well as 2429. And again, if you're modeling the Southern Pacific from 1937 till 1942, these are definitely acceptable for that time period. Coming up next is the famous Golden State paint scheme. This was in use from 1947 until 1952. Again, we're going to offer two different road numbers for this paint scheme, 2424 as well as 2430. And again, if you're modeling 1947 to 1952, these are perfectly acceptable. We're going to jump into the 1950s now with the Cascade paint scheme, and this is a really eye-catching paint scheme that was used predominantly from 1950 to 1959, and we're going to offer two road numbers on this car as well, 2425 and 2437. Then we've got one last paint scheme that we're going to offer for Southern Pacific. This one puts us right into the 1960s. This was used from 1959 to 1965, and this is the general service paint scheme that we kind of mentioned earlier in the description. Now, you're going to have car numbers 2428 as well as 2433, and again, these are pretty much the last of these cars right up until the Amtrak era would come along. So again, 1959 to 1965. Finally, it's not a Southern Pacific car, but it is based on a Southern Pacific car. If you have been a fan of the Athearn paint schemes and collectibles that we've done over the last few years, you may want to add these to your fleet. This would definitely look appropriate behind the SD40-2 that we released a couple of years ago. The first one that you see is ATHX, which is our reporting marks, 1600 Long Beach. Now that basically goes back to when Athearn was in Long Beach, California, and 1600 was the street address of that location. And so we wanted to do one for Long Beach, and then of course now our headquarters is in Central Illinois in Champaign. So ATHX 2904 is the Champaign car. So whether you want to add the West Coast version or the Central Illinois version, or just both to add to your business train, you can definitely do that. These are going to both be offered, and they're available for pre-order until Friday the 29th. Now let's talk about the features of these cars. Now, since these are Athearn Genesis, they're going to be accurate to the prototype in all cases, except where we took some liberties with the Athearn cars. The Athearn cars are not based on a prototype. We just simply use the Southern Pacific chair car. These are going to have an accurate seat, floor, and vestibule colors. Now, these would vary as they were used throughout their careers, and Athearn researchers have gone through great lengths to make sure that those accurate colors are used, including the apricot or seafoam green walls. Now, those are per road number. Just because they were in the same set didn't always mean they had the same colors. And in this case, that's certainly true. So since these are Athearn Genesis, these are based on road number. There's also a dark rose, turquoise, or forest green seats. And again, this is per the road number. So again, they may have the same outward appearance as far as paint schemes, but based on the road number is going to base what color those seat colors are. That's done by the road number. They're also going to have friction or roller bearing trucks per the prototype. Constant interior lighting provided by LEDs. These have full underbody detail and operating diaphragms. They, of course, will include the McHenry scale knuckle spring couplers. And this is another neat thing about Genesis. These will come included with the skirting as they were delivered from Pullman Standard, or deskirted bodies to match the prototype. As time went on, sometimes the skirting was removed because of maintenance reasons. And the same thing here. Minimum radius on these, they are scale. So they're going to be a 24-inch radius for them to operate on. Can't really get these on an 18-inch radius. 24 is the recommended radius on these. Now the cost on these is $109.99 individually. Keep in mind, these are Athearn Genesis. They're going to have a lot of detail, a lot of different colors, both on the interior and exterior, based on, based on the prototype. And, excuse me. My apologies. Based on the prototype. So they're going to be $109.99 MSRP. Please contact your dealer for your price. All right. I'm going to look and see if there are any questions on these cars before we move on to the Next, Athearn HO items. So we basically just covered that real quickly. Depending on the road number, interior colors are going to be apricot or seafoam green. Again, that's based on the prototype. And remember the seats. This is based on the prototype. The seats can be anywhere between dark rose, turquoise, or forest green. It's going to really depend on the road number and sometimes what era those are. Typically, no. Typically, and again, this is based per the road number, but typically they were pretty much standardized colors within the car. Not at this time. We're not going to do these in N scale. These are just HO for this one. Stephen Wagner with a very interesting piece of trivia slash history. The Sierra Railroad was often the site for filming train scenes for movies and TV shows. Since it was based in Jamestown, California, we'll be getting one of those, Mr. Wiggin. I will probably get it, not for that reason, but probably will. Very, very cool, interesting information you have there. Overall lengths on these are Southern Pacific 77-foot passenger cars, so they will be a scale 77 foot, hence the reason why you're going to need a recommended radius of 24 inches. All right, no B&O in this one. A couple of guys asking if they are lit. Yes, they do include LED lighting, so you can see all that detail in low light settings. No via cars right now. Nothing planned for that either. Not right now, anyways. Um, Wanting to know what they look like in the 50s. Again, if you go back a little bit, the Cascade was one that was used in the 1950s. We kind of covered that. That's kind of that two-tone gray. That was used from 1950 to 1959. Kind of late in the 50s, but more into the 60s was a general service paint scheme. You could also, if you wanted to go into the early 50s, the Golden State paint scheme that we show, the aluminum and red, that was used predominantly in the late 40s, early 50s, specifically 1947 to 1952. All right. Just going through real quickly, and then we're going to go on to the next one. All right. Last question on these wants to know the source material for seats. Well, we have a lot of connections with a lot of people at Athearn. Now, myself, I have some connections, but most of the connections are with our product development team. Product development, basically, one of their roles is to seek out and find experts in the field. Our product developers will work with everybody from Amtrak and maintenance crews at different railroads, all the way to historical societies. In some cases, we have the option and privilege sometimes to actually go to restored equipment and work with the very people that restored equipment and get their color codes, get their information, their layout, their logos, all of that good stuff. And it's because of that, that's how we try to get the most accurate models, especially within the Genesis series of models. All right. Well, let's go on to the next item, which we're going to be talking about some FMC stuff. So if you model the 70s into the 80s, these next cars are for you. So these are the Athearn HO 50-foot FMC 5077 offset double door box car. Now, disclaimer here, that's a center um, double door boxcar, but I wanted to show it to you for some reference. These are recently retooled models, so they're going to be accurate dimensions, unlike they were a few years back. They've been totally gone through, and they've got the accurate prototypical dimensions. Now, this car, if you do like the centered double door boxcar that you see here, this is item number ATH 15883. Again, that's ATH 15883. Now, we only got three that we're going to talk about tonight, but all three road names have the availability to be purchased in three different road numbers. And everything I'm about to show you, you have until Friday, March 29th to pre-order. So here we are. We've got three cars. Let's talk a little bit about them. First one is the Sierra Railroad. Now, this one here is a 1976 era car. The Sierra Series 4000 to 4449 were built by FMC, or Food Machine Company. This was lot 17792, and these were built December of 1976. So these cars are going to look pretty much as they left the factory. The car that you see on your screen is SERA is the reporting marks. Road number is 4030. And we're also going to offer two additional road numbers, 4037 and 4045. Coming up next is the McLeod Railway. And this is a prime for grind offering, because if you look carefully, you'll see that it was formerly leased to the city of Preenville. Now, these were leased in September 23rd, 1983 from ITEL. And the data that we got from this comes directly from the www.mcleodriverrailroad.com. A lot of valuable information in there that you might want to check out. Now, if you're modeling 1984 on up, these cars are perfect for you. The car that you see here is 7032. We're also offering two additional cars to add to your roster, 7059 and 7098. Now, the last car, also a McLeod Railway, but this is a former Camino, Placerville, and Lake Tahoe car. This is totally appropriate for modelers for 1986 on up. And it's an XM class, 50-foot double-door boxcars. They were leased from ITEL 7/1 of 86, so July 1st, 1986. And the car that you see here is 8711. We're also going to offer two additional cars, 8713 and 8733. So keep in mind, both McLeod Railway cars are prime for grime. These are really cool if you're modeling, like I said, mid to late 80s. If you're looking for the newer one and you want to stick in the 70s, the Sierra Railroad is probably the car for you. Now let's talk about the features of these cars. So like I said, they're going to be dimensionally accurate. They're going to be based on the prototypes. They're going to have separately applied grab irons, end ladders, and brake wheel. They're also going to have a photo etch coupler crossover platform. They're all going to include metal wheels with RP25 contours. Body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers, of course, are included. And the highly detailed injection molded body, again, we've gone through these. They've been dimensionally changed so that they're more prototypical. The older ones are a little bit too wide. The angle of the roof wasn't quite right. That's all been adjusted now. And of course, they're painted and printed for realistic decoration. Now, these are Athearn HO, so they're not going to be as hyper prototypical as the Genesis models. However, we did have the researchers conduct a lot of research on these, and these are as accurate as we can get for the Athearn HO scale line. Minimum radius on these, even if you have a small layout, you don't have to worry. Minimum radius on these is 18 inches. Now, the cost on these, again, this is MSRP. I had to laugh because last week I even said, don't yell at me in the comments, this is MSRP. And the second comment was yelling at me about the MSRP. You're going to talk to your dealer for your prices because they're going to alter significantly, or at least they should, based on the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That being said, prime for grime is $44.99. That's individually. And if you go for the brand new Sierra looking model, that's $39.99. So there you have it. Talk to your hobby dealer. That's a small lot in this section, but we wanted to kind of add on and continue from what we did the previous month. And for those that are modeling the 70s and the 80s, these are probably a welcome addition. So with that, one more thing I want to talk to you about briefly, and then we'll go on to some questions. Now, as you probably noticed, yesterday we made a statement regarding the Amtrak 46. Now, all of us do read social media comments, we read other forums. Some of us are actively participants or moderators in some forums out there. And we did see some reviews and some concerns regarding the Amtrak P42 number 46 in relation to how the number 46 was not placed correctly. We did have a meeting at Athearn. We saw that this was a consistent problem. It wasn't just an isolated incident. And working with our factory, we've come to the conclusion that the only thing that we can really do in good conscience is for anybody that bought an Amtrak 46 that is affected by this, we will be offering replacement body shells for those customers. Now, we're going to have wait a little bit because those are being produced as we talk, and those will be sent here. We're hoping about sometime mid to late April. At that time, we're going to have posted instructions letting you know how to go about getting your replacement body shell. So again, we are going to replace the body shells on the Amtrak 46s. Give us a little bit of patience because those are being produced as we speak. And as soon as those are available for replacement, we're going to post instructions on how you can contact us and get those replacement body shells. So we apologize for this oversight on the appropriate markings and placement of the number 46 on this locomotive. However, sometimes this does happen, and know that Athearn will stand with its customers. We are going to go ahead and replace those body shells. So for that, I'm going to open this up for any questions that you might have, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to some modeling. So let's see what kind of questions we have. Jim Frisk says, Jim, will you be at the Rocky Mountain Train Show in April? Yes, thank you for the reminder. I will be there. I will be at the Rocky Mountain Train Show. That's coming right up. It's going to be April 6th and 7th. And I'm going to be right next to my buddy George with Soundtracks. So you'll be able to talk to both of us. We're going to have a lot of stuff there, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, the AC 4400s have finally shipped. I'm seeing some posts out there on social media regarding people purchasing their AC 4400s. A lot of happy people out there. So relieved that we finally got those in here. We also got the GP7s. Those are shipping to dealers now. So if you had a pre-order for those and you haven't heard anything yet, contact your dealer. Make sure that he's got them for you. The ICC cabooses are also in stock, and of course the P40 and P42s. Those have been in stock for a little bit. The big news last week, of course, was the AC 4400s. The boxcars that I just showed you in HO, the FMC 50 footers, no, these are 1970s. This is the per diem era, if you've ever heard of that. The per diem era was a really colorful age in model railroading. It was really the boxcars' last real push before containerized freight took over. So specifically the Sierra Railroad one, that is a mid-70s car. And then the other cars that I showed, the McLeod cars that are prime for grime, those are mid-1980s and certainly lasted into the 90s. A gentleman by the name of Model Rarer says, just curious, have any of you modelers gotten an Athearn Genesis locomotive with some missing lift rings on them? Well, if you're in a situation where you do have a brand new locomotive and it's missing lift rings or some detail part and you can't find it, because let's be honest, especially Genesis models, there's so many details on them that if they're shipped and not handled the way that we would normally handle our equipment, stuff can come dislodged and misplaced. If that happens to you, please go to the Athearn website and there's a contact us form where you can get your locomotive repaired. So go to the contact us page, fill out the form, and a service technician from Athearn will be in touch with you and let you know how they can get that taken care of for you. We don't want you having missing parts. That being said, I have had a request from our product support and customer service technician, another kind reminder that if you've just recently purchased a blue box kit, we do not have parts for those anymore. Those kits are going on 20 years now, and we just don't have the room to carry those parts anymore. If you're looking for parts for a blue box era model, you're really going to need to look for a secondary source, as we no longer manufacture those parts. So just a gentle reminder that just because I say it doesn't mean you'll get a different answer if you talk to one of our customer service report guys. Yes, the remainder of the P40 and P42s are available now. That was another one that a lot of folks were really excited about. And I have to agree, um, Peter with a nice comment, via P42, extremely accurate models and continue to come out. Yeah, I'm really impressed with those. Really nice paint scheme on those. Let's see. Relatable 100, I'm sorry, I don't have any update for you on Coil Cars. Hopefully by Rocky Mountain, I might have some news for you. Sid, our Ohio Central fan, wants to know, is there going to be any more Ohio Central units announced this year? Not in the immediate future. I can't say that for the rest of the year, but not in the immediate future. Yes, Springfield, Illinois train show this weekend. I would like to go to that. I don't know if I can. I've got some other responsibilities, and work just never ends. Ironically, when you work in the industry, you do less model railroading on your own. Anthony wants to know, and we get this question a lot at Amherst. Will you guys ever do Northeast Corridor equipment, passenger cars, etc.? Waiting on my 50th anniversary P42. We want to get through the California cars and the Surfliner cars first. We are getting very close. And in the next coming months, we're going to hopefully have some exciting updates for you on those. We want to get those finished. We want to get those out there. And it may be a little bit before we tackle some more passenger equipment, but it is definitely not without the realm of possibilities. Let's see. Rocky Mountain Train Show. You can go online, just do a quick search for Rocky Mountain Train Show. But they're going to be in Denver, Colorado, at the Western. I think it's called the Western States Exposition Center. It's right off the highway. Pretty good sized location. Parking is easy, which is sometimes not easy with these model train shows. And there is a lot to see. So if you do end up going, plan on spending both days there. In fact, we're going to have an Athearn extra here pretty soon, where we're going to talk specifically about the Rocky Mountain Train Show. It is definitely a great show to go to. And while you're there, there's a lot to see. There's the Colorado Railroad Museum, and there's also Model Railroad Supply just up the road. Great hobby shop. They're going to be set up there at the show, but if you haven't been to their shop, I highly recommend it. All right, going through some questions here. Yes, Stephen, thank you again for another great reminder. I filled out Athern's survey online and urge others who buy more than I do to do so. The response will probably be more useful to the firm than mine. I wouldn't necessarily discount what you have to offer, Stephen. I have a lot of models already. Yes, that is right. Now, we sent that through our Athern email newsletter. We sent one out on social media. We're going to do another one this week. So if you've missed out on any of those surveys and you want your voice to be heard, we definitely want to hear from you. Now, those surveys for Athern are very important because it gives us really gives us a chance to see what the pulse of our customers are looking for. Do they want more modern? Do they want more transition era? Do they want more diesels? Do they want more steam? We take all that information. We usually do the survey about once a year, and it really does help our product developers really pinpoint what roads to work on, what research needs to be done in specific models, eras, things of that nature. So, yeah, it's a little bit longer survey than what we've done in the past, but it really does dive deep into the different brands of Athearn, and we really want to hear your feedback. So, if you see that survey and you haven't taken it yet, please be sure to do that. Good question. Will Maersk containers and chassis come back? Unfortunately, no. Rather unfortunate set of circumstances there. Maersk has asked all model railroad manufacturers, not just Athearn, to cease production of Maersk models. So if you've got a Maersk model in your collection, it's probably going to be collectible because unfortunately we cannot produce that any longer. We did use our legal efforts and attempts of talking with Maersk corporate, and they denied us the ability to make those models anymore. So sadly, we've had to comply and not make those anymore. Let's see. A couple of guys commenting that they did the survey, so thank you for doing that. Chris Forrest wants to know, I saw the Athearn passenger car announcement. Will there be more Athearn product? Maybe a Dash 9. Well, we from time to time do a lot of Athearn specific products. I don't know if we'll do a Dash 9 or not, but you never know what the guys in product development are up to. Mr. David Reynolds, if you get our email newsletter, check there. There should be a survey. It was sent out, I believe, last Thursday or Friday, I believe. I think it was Friday. If you're not signed up for our email newsletter, go to our website and go to the bottom of the page. If you don't get the pop-up that says to sign up for our email newsletter, go to the bottom of the page and you'll find a link there that will let you sign up for our email newsletter. Now, I do want to say in the next coming months, we're going to be doing more with the email newsletter because turns out from that survey, most of you get your information from there than any other source. So obviously, I'm going to be busy writing more newsletters for you guys and hopefully enjoy. Let's see. Not right now. Not on the radar. That doesn't mean it won't ever happen, but I can tell you right on the radar right now, no. Michael reminding us Milwaukee will be this year. Yes, and Athearn will be there. Looking forward to that coming back. Between Amherst and Trainfest, those are probably my favorite train shows. Let's see what other questions we have, and then I am going to let you guys get back to some modeling. A lot of folks asking both here and on social media about the ST70 Aces. I believe those are still on track for this month. I don't know exactly when this month. I'm going to probably say later March. But try to keep an eye on our social media. We usually try to post something when they're on their way or um, when they're here. Let's see. Brad, there have already been 2 identical surveys in the last 2 weeks. Never mind this one that is coming. Is that really needed? Yeah, actually it is. It's kind of like Facebook. If you don't like it, just scroll on. We do that because these surveys, most times somebody will not see them. Facebook specifically has a strange algorithm, and some folks may just completely miss that survey. So we send it out on social media a number of times. We're not going to send it out again on the email newsletter. That's a one and done type of thing. But on social media, yeah, and we'll do the same thing for posts such as the Amtrak 46. So I'm sorry if you find that troubling, disturbing, or excessive, but just kind of ignore it. If you filled it out once, that is appreciated, and then you can just ignore the rest. Let's see, some other survey feedback. Eric, I see your comment there about your annual income. So one of the things too, just to kind of let you know, is kind of a disclaimer. You are asked towards the end of the survey if you would like to continue with, basically it's a demographics, what area of the country you live in, um, you know, how many people live in your house, that kind of thing. You don't have to fill that out if you don't want to. Certainly, most people probably skip over that. However, if you do, that's fine. Also know that Horizon's not going to sell your information or sell your email address to some other marketing company. That's all internal, and it is all safe and secure. So you don't need to worry about that either. But if you don't want to delve into that, you can just certainly skip that, and we get the stuff that Atherin's looking for without any issues. All right, I'm going to do 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to some model railroading. Let's see, I'm going to go a little bit forward. Thank you for the kind comments on the Genesis models, folks, especially the AC 4400s. We're pretty excited about those. Those are absolutely great models. Ryan, I'll go with your question. When will Athearn switch to ESU? So fortunately for you, you've got options. So right now, to answer the first question, we don't have any current plans to switch. We've got a great relationship with Soundtrax. Soundtrax makes a nice quality piece of equipment. I also like the fact that Soundtrax makes their decoders right here in the United States in Colorado. And the other reason why we like Soundtrax is because their support. Soundtrax has a great support system. So if you do run into a programming issue with a Genesis locomotive or anything that's equipped with Soundtrax, they have people there that are knowledgeable and know decoders inside and out. I know for a fact that both Norman and George probably know more about DCC in 1/8 of their head than I will ever know. Their technical support is, in my opinion, unsurpassed. So that is one of the reasons why we've chosen that. Now, I get it. Not everybody likes brand A versus brand B, and I understand that completely. So fortunately for you, we do offer a DCC ready locomotive, and that is usually included with all the Athearn Genesis as well as the Athearn models. So they're typically a 21-pin NEM connector DCC ready board already installed. So if you like, let's say, ESU or TCS or any of those other great manufacturers, you can definitely drop that in there. It's not a problem. But yeah, we're going to stick with Soundtracks because we've had a great working relationship with them. And again, I think their customer support is uh, probably the best in the industry as far as decoders. One more question, and then I'm going to let you guys go and get some modeling done. Maybe work on that layout. You know what? We're getting close to train show season where a lot of us are going to be taking those modules out. I know I've got a N-track or N-rail show coming up in June, so I got to dust off the old N-track module and get that worked on again. Let's see. One more question. Yeah, it looks like there's some guys actually building some layouts right now, so that's great to see. Great to hear. Let's end with Austin's question. Austin wants to know, any plans for high rail trucks? Well, I don't know exactly what's going on in product development, other than there's a lot going on in there, but let me tell you, Athearn has been talking about things like that. Now, other than talk, I don't have any firm dates or anything like that for you, but it has come up in meetings, and let us know. Let us know in the comments. Would you like to see a working HO scale maintenance away or high rail truck? Let us know. And if we get enough response, when development gets to a point where they can bring on some new projects, we might actually think about that. So thank you everyone for those that joined me live tonight on the live feed. Thank you for joining me. Again, you've got until Friday, March 29th to place your pre-orders on everything that we talked about tonight. Don't forget, owners of the Amtrak 46, you will be getting replacement shells. Now, if you have a friend that is not online, does not watch Train Tuesday, let them know. Next time you're at the club meet, say, hey, you know what? Athearn acknowledged there's an issue. We're going to take care of you. So let them know, and also let them know that as soon as those are in stock, we're going to post a statement on how you can go about getting those replacement shells. So there you have it, everyone. I want to thank you for joining me. For those on YouTube, thanks for joining us. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, for the next Train Tuesday, I hope everybody out there is happy, healthy, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care.